Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1993 Dodge Intrepid ES. Up front is a 3.5 liter V6, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Dodge Intrepid for two reasons. First of all, I've never reviewed the first generation of Intrepid. I have reviewed the second, which also had low miles, but that's the second reason I'm super excited, is that this has 17,000 miles on it. This is a factory fresh 93 Intrepid, and I am so excited to share it with you here today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 3.5 liter V6 under the hood. Well, this was the upgrade engine for the ES trim level. They also had a 3.3 liter V6, and so the 3.5 liter was the one you wanted. These did not come with 4 cylinders. However, the later Intrepids towards the late 90s, early 2000s did come with a 2.7 liter V6 that you should avoid like the plague, but both first-gen engines seem to be pretty good. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic, and that's where things start to get less good. These transmissions are very unreliable. However, this might be the only first-gen Dodge Intrepid in the world to still have its original transmission. So I am respecting it today. I am being nice to it here today, and I hope it returns the favor. Last but not least about the drivetrain, the Dodge Intrepid is front-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive a 17,000-mile Dodge Intrepid? Feels great. It's honestly not as floaty as I was expecting, but it still rides nice. These cars do have some suspension issues as well. They're known to have tie rod issues, but driving down the road, it's nice. And as we'll talk about with the exterior, this car was kind of stretched out, really elongated, kind of the cab forward idea from Dodge, and you feel that in the driving experience. You feel a little bit stretched out, you feel a little bit longer. That's actually kind of a nice feeling to have. Visibility is good. It is an early 90s car after all, and most of them in the era had pretty thin A-pillars, as does this. And throttle response is fine. I can't say I'm upchucking my lunch because of the sheer speed of the Intrepid, but it's good enough to get a pass from me. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is the tachometer, in the middle is the speedometer, and off to the right is the fuel and coolant temperature. We also do get some little lights for putting it in and out of gear. I really, really like this. And moving on to the steering wheel, we do have cruise control. Still works here. Love to see that. And the horn button, if you ever wanted to hear a 1993 Dodge Intrepid horn, there you go. There it is. Off to the left, we have our headlight and fog light switch, gauge dimmer switch, and then moving on to the door, we have our power mirror switch as well as a little climate vent on the door. Very cool to see this. Then we have our lock and unlock, window locks, and power windows. You also get this little piece of fabric. It is so incredibly soft. I really, really, truly feel like I fell into a time machine and hit 88 miles an hour because just this interior is so wonderful and cozy and 90s and welcoming. And we'll talk more about that as time goes on. But moving into the center, we have our message center. Love to see this. So 90s. I mean, you probably felt like Captain Kirk while driving your Intrepid with the message center. Love to see that. This car also has a passenger airbag, which was standard and wasn't required in 1993. So a very nice feature to have was a standard passenger airbag. We have 2 more climate vents and the stock Chrysler radio, AM and FM, as well as a cassette player. Love that hazy green light looking back at me. Down below, we have the climate controls. We do have auto climate, which is very nice to see for 1993, as well as where to send it, temperature. This feels a little bit more modern than 93, and that's always a nice thing to see. Then we do have an ashtray, cigarette lighter. This vehicle has never been smoked in, which is wild to say about a 90s Dodge. And then we have the shifter, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but I like how smooth everything is around it. This feels kind of concept car-y, and yet this was the production model of the Intrepid. We do have pull-out cup holders. We'll do a big freaking bottle test, and And two things to note. First of all, obviously it fails. I'm not going to try it because these cup holders are super, super brittle. But also, most of these cup holders failed because if any sticky drink spills in them, it makes the contraption of them popping out impossible to use. So the fact that these actually still open is a huge win, although it doesn't pass the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do have our center console with coin holders and cassette holders, two very, very ancient necessities. I guess just necessities we don't have here in today's market. And then we have the seats. They are just as comfortable as they look. They are soft and welcoming. I feel like I'm getting hugged by 90s Dodge. And although 90s Dodge didn't have a whole lot of money, they were always kind of there and welcoming. And so that's what I love. You know, Dodge was kind of a single parent in the 90s. And although they couldn't give us everything, they gave us everything they could. And that's how these seats definitely feel. Soft, supple, just lovely, lovely, lovely. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. I feel improper even having shoes on the carpeting back here. All right, we're in the back of the 93 Dodge Intrepid ES. And first thing you notice is the space. My head is coming towards the ceiling. It's actually hitting the ceiling right here. I'm 5'11", not a small guy. Height is a little bit of an issue back here. However, leg room is not an issue. This longer chassis really helps out. I have several inches between my knees and the seat in front of me. And again, these seats, just like the front, are incredibly, incredibly comfortable. We do have climate vents down here for the second row, not often found in cars even today, like current, like Honda Civics and Mazda 3s don't even do this. So very nice to see that. We do get a little center armrest that pops out. Other than that, no crazy amenities, but we do actually have push-out ashtrays in either of the doors. So very, very cool to see that. And again, a sort of relic of the past, like the coin holders and cassette holders. I'm gonna take a moment to myself, and then we're gonna talk about the trunk. But I just wanna kind of soak up this experience because again, it is a very childhood experience. My parents rented some of these on several vacations that we took. And so riding back here is amazing to see and to be back here after so many years. Just incredible. Okay, let's keep it moving. Let's hop into the trunk. All right, around the back of the Dodge Intrepid. And something that I love is that the reverse light actually lights up Intrepid when you're backing up. According to myself, as well as the owner, I can't think of any other cars that do this with the model name and not the manufacturer name. So like the Dodge Chargers of the late 2000s did that with Dodge, but not specifically Intrepid. So kind of interesting to see that. Once we are back here, we do have our key hole. And then we have the trunk. Obviously, great size trunk. Love to see this. But I mean, look at how clean it is. It's like nothing has ever been put back here, ever. So nice to see. And there you go. I mean, American cars used to have big, awesome, luxurious trunks, and the Intrepid was no different at the time. Love, love, love to see that. Trying to not touch the paint. There we go. Lovely around the back of the Intrepid. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is on the LH platform. And the LH platform was Dodge and Chrysler starting to really stretch these cars back out. In the 80s, we had really blocky, short, snubby cars. Here's a Chrysler LeBaron. Here's the New Yorker. Here's an Aries wagon. And so as you can see, moving into the 90s, and 93 was the first model year for this first gen Intrepid, you could see that they really started to stretch it out. This was a cab forward design where the windshield was kind of pushed forward. Everything's elongated. It feels like this car was pushed through one of those pressed penny machines, of which I'm a big collector of. So that's very, very cool. Like the design of it was very, very space agey for the early 90s. I mean, this might as well have been the Jetsons family automobile. Getting into here and seeing this pull up at this time of the 90s, this was not common. This was something completely radical and different. And I know we look back on the Intrepid and say, oh, it's just a bubbly 90s car. This was very much an early bubbly 90s car. And that is really, really cool to see. The overall design is fantastic. And this car with its 17,000 miles, you can basically eat off of it. It is so incredibly clean. There's one or two blemishes on the entire car, and that is incredible to see. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the 93 Dodge Intrepid ES? Well, obviously, I've really enjoyed this experience. And to call it a review, it's a little out there. I'm not being critical of this car. Yes, it has its flaws. The transmission ain't great. The suspension ain't great. The build quality's okay. But really, I just wanted to take a step back and show you what this was. I'm sure a lot of you watching this video had experience with one of these back in the day. Maybe you owned one. Maybe this was your first car. Maybe you got driven to school or soccer practice in the back of one of these. And I wanted to share that with you because there's so many memories wrapped up in vehicles like this. I grew up in the late 90s, and I remember seeing these all over the place. And so to now see one again is like welcoming an old friend. It's like saying hello. It's like going to a high school reunion with 100% fewer class rings and faded Letterman jackets. And there's something that today's cars just aren't able to mimic from this. Yes, I mean, sedans in total are going away, but there's something so inviting about this. Maybe it's because everything in here is sort of smooth and flowing. Maybe it's the materials being soft and inviting. Maybe it's the size. Maybe it's this nice longer wheelbase. I can't quite put my finger on it, but when I drive something like this and show you guys something like this, it just feels right. Something about this feels homely. Something feels correct. I feel like a part of myself is always kind of absent, and this car brings it back home. This car tunes me in. Nowadays, I have bills to pay. I have to pay rent. I have to pay my car payment. I have to pay for my own insurance. But a car like this makes me forget about all of that. It makes me go back to a time when I was younger and more innocent, when life just wasn't so complicated. And so as comfy as these seats are, this whole car makes me feel comfortable. And that is a lovely thing. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Eric for letting me borrow his Dodge Intrepid for today's video. Eric has been absolutely wonderful to work with. If you think I'm enthusiastic about this car, Eric is tenfold. He really loves this car, and he is dedicated to being the steward of this car for the foreseeable future. He takes incredible care of it, and honestly, I get why. So huge thank you to Eric. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.